Is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition. It is Monday of the Stochastic NHL Strategy Show. I'm your host, Josh Harris. If there is some noise behind me, my basement's finally getting worked on after everything broke in it in the preseason. It's not like they're upstairs laying pipe with my wife up there. It's a little bit different than that, thank God. But we have a 7-gamer here. Weird week because of American Thanksgiving. Decent size slate today. No slate tomorrow. 15 games on Wednesday and 15 on Friday. So we'll be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Joining me to break it down, Slim Cliffy. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Yeah, just another lovely Monday here. We've actually been having a lot of sunny weather, which after a very rainy October has been a nice little change of pace, but 7 games ahead of us. Before we get too far, I do have to shout out our boss, Jake, taking down the $20 on Saturday.
And the 5.
And the 5 on Saturday.
It's a different lineup.
He had first and second place, if I'm not mistaken.
In the 20, and So, like, the first place lineup in the 20 was like 182 points. The first place lineup in the 5 was 207. So he must have put a different set in the 5, and he shipped both.
Anyways, yeah. So, congrats to Jake. He had Tampa, the top guys. Brandon Hagel 4-point game. Nikita Kucherov had was it a goal and 2 assists in 5 minutes of ice time, and then he got hurt. So Jake got a cool 24.5 DK points in 5 minutes of ice time, which I feel like is justified considering what happened with that Joel Armia shorthanded goal earlier. So congrats to him. He had a really good night. But we do have 7 games ahead of us here tonight. A little bit of injury news, some funky line combinations, and especially in one spot where it seems our chat might be gravitating towards here. But it's a really interesting 7-gamer because, single entry, even on like 6-7 game slates, there's usually a game or a couple teams or something where immediately when I look at it, I just kind of cross them off. It's not really the case here, and it's basically price driven. None of the even strength line combinations in our top stacks are priced higher than 19K total on DK. So there are a lot of mid-price stacks you can go to tonight. That means a lot. I mean, you always have to kind of keep ownership in the back of your head, but I don't think it's all that important here tonight because there are just so many different combinations that I think are very viable. So I kind of like this slate. Nice to have a medium-sized slate and not have to break down either 4 games or 13 games. So a nice little 7-gamer. I'm kind of pumped for it.
Yeah, 7 games is a sweet spot, both for playing DFS and breaking it down, but we should get into it. First game of the night, we have the Detroit Red Wings with a 2.8 total heading into New Jersey. The Diablos have a 3.2 total. Devils going Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Timo Meier. Cody Glass is back. I think we have him projected in the 3rd line. So the second line is going to be Mercer, Grietzuk, Palat, then Brown, Glass, Dodonov. Detroit going Larkin, Raymond, Finney, DeBrincat, Kane, Confer. So I'll start on the Devils side. That top line for the Devils, 18,200. They lead our top 2 stack percentage with 20.6%. And they also lead our ownership with 20.3%. Now, they are fully correlated. They've played very well together in a small sample. They most likely will be going out a bunch against Larkin, Raymond, Finney, which means they're going to see the Sider pairing. That sucks because that's their only good pair, but this line is good enough to where it doesn't really affect
Is Evansson playing?
I mean, if he plays, yeah, he's
that's
sick.
the thing. We should mention they called up a defenseman from the AHL. Evansson missed the game on Saturday, so that would indicate to me that he's out, but I guess we'll find out in warm-ups for sure.
Yeah, if he's out, obviously, if it's Sider Sherratt, that pair isn't very good. And then after that, it just, gets way worse. So I do like New Jersey 1 here. Cliffy talks about it since Shaq Hughes got hurt. It doesn't really affect the guys playing with Nico Hischier. It just affects the guys not playing with Jack Hughes anymore. So it would be a Devils 1 game for me. The ownership is fine. It's in line with his top 2. Like, this is one of those slates where, like, I almost never pay attention to ownership, but because the prices are so compact and there isn't a super expensive spot, I wonder if you do see a couple of dupes here and there. I'm still not concerned about it, but I'm more aware of it on this slate. And, like, it's easy to do Devils 1, this line with Werenski. You know what I mean? Like, if you think you're being sneaky, you're not. That's just be aware of what you're doing. Again, not super worried about ownership, but Devils 1 for me. On the Detroit side, like, their numbers with Emmett Finney on the top line really aren't awful. 160 minutes together. Not awful. This Devils team isn't very good defensively. They are going to see that Nico Hischier line a fair bit, though, and that's the one concern. They have been good defensively. But listen, like, their goalies have struggled. Their blue line has struggled. So for 5.1%, I don't mind getting there. There's just a lot of lines in that range. Like, that Devils line is just $500 more. The Kings line is $200 more. Columbus 1, if Marchenko plays, is the same price. You know what I mean? There's just a lot in that range. So while I don't think I'm going to prioritize Detroit here, I don't think you should cross them off, because of the lines I just listed, Detroit 1 is the lowest owned. And we've seen, New Jersey just get their brains beat in. So, for 5%, I would definitely take a stab in MME. If you want to go to the second line, like, I don't really want to play a line with JT Compher for almost $17K. And the Devils generally have a good power or penalty kill. But, if you want to do like a DeBrincat Kane 2-man, I guess that's fine. But for me, really, it's Devils 1, Detroit 1. Didn't mention it before, but I'm fine with like a Greetsuk 1-off as well.
Yeah, I'll start on the New Jersey side. You mentioned the top line doesn't have a big sample this year. Jesper Bratt did play quite a bit with with Nico Hischier last year because Jack Hughes was hurt again. So if you go back to last year, 300 minutes together for Bratt and Hischier, 3.1 expected goals, 3 actual goals per 60 at 5-on-5. It's pretty good. It's not elite, but it is really good. And, they're perfectly correlated. They're going to play heavy minutes. Like, if you look at the 4 games since Hughes got hurt, they're basically playing like around 20 to 22 minutes a game, all 3 of them. So you're getting a ton of ice time with perfect correlation. Evanson out for Detroit. As you mentioned, like, anytime Seider's not going to be on the ice, it feels like they could run into some problems, which was the case before because they were playing together on the same pair, but it just brings another defenseman that can't really defend into the lineup. So I think New Jersey's perfectly fine as a full stack here. Whether you want to turn it into a power play stack, like, the Detroit penalty kill has been on a bit of a slide, but it's certainly been a lot better than it was last year. Detroit does take a reasonable amount of penalties. They're a little bit worse than league average over the last 5 weeks, but the Devils don't draw a lot of power plays. Like, that's the one thing that's really kind of bugging me here. They're at 2.4 per game. It's the 7th lowest rate in the league over the last 5 weeks. So I do worry that they're only going to get a couple cracks on the power play here tonight, and you're asking one of the most expensive lines on the board to do a lot of 5-on-5, which they can, obviously. But I'm not running out to play them. I'm just kind of mad at myself because a couple games ago, I kind of liked them going into Florida, and they got shut out. And then the game after that, they went into Philly, and I didn't like them. And I think they were in on all 3 goals. So this is if the Devils are going to put up like 4 or 5 goals, this top line's going to have to be heavily involved. I really do like them. I think they're perfectly fine as the top stack here tonight. I'm not sure I'm going to be running out to play them. If you want to drop down to the second line, Mercer and Grietzuk, 2.6 expected goals per 60 together this year. It's a little bit better than league average. It's not elite or anything like that, but I mean, Mercer's getting a ton of ice time again, like over 20 minutes a game. He's definitely going to see a lot of the depth pairs for Detroit. Like if you want to do like a Mercer Grietzuk 2-man or something like that, I think that's okay. I'm going to be honest. I think my interest is more on the Detroit side, and it's just because of the low ownership. Like it's not just that the top line is at 5%. It's the fact that DeBrincat, like I'll bring up the ownership for the Detroit game here. DeBrincat 3.9%, Patrick Kane 2.6%, ASP under 1%. I imagine it's going to be a little bit higher, but there's not much ownership on these guys. And the Devils are like a league average team defensively. I was looking at their last 15 games. They're like 15th in the league by expected goals against and 20th by goals against per minute. Like this isn't a defensive team to be feared. And while the Devils don't have a bad penalty kill, they had a great penalty kill last year, and they don't have that this year. It's been good. It's been fine. It hasn't been something like I'm not stacking guys against that PK. So if I can stack the Detroit top line at 5%, maybe take out Finney and put one in of the DeBrincat or Kane, make it more of a power play stack for low single digit ownership. I think that's what I kind of prefer in this game. Because I mean, as you mentioned with Finney, like I was just looking at their last 10 games since they've been reunited, 77 shot attempts, 3.8 expected goals per 60. Dylan Larkin playing upwards of 22 minutes a game. Even Raymond's at around 19 or so. Like Finney's in the mid-teens. Like that's fine. Raymond has 34 shots in his last 10 games. Like that's one thing that's always kind of sucked about his DFS profiles. He doesn't shoot a lot, but he's starting to shoot a lot more. I kind of like the Detroit top line here. If you want to turn it into a power play stack, that's fine. So for me, it goes Detroit 1, New Jersey 1, Detroit 2. But like I said, if you want to just turn Detroit into some sort of power play stack, that's perfectly okay.
St. Louis Blues, 2.5 total. Heading into Madison Square Garden, the Rangers have a 2.9 total. Thought it was weird because this is the 1-year anniversary of Jim Montgomery taking over for the Blues. His first game last year at this time was in Madison Square Garden, and the Blues won 5-2. Doesn't mean anything, but no such thing as coincidences. Vincent Trocheck, game time decision. JT Miller still out. If Trocheck is out, they're going to be going Mika Zibanejad, Cooley, Lafreniere, Panarin with Parsinen and Brodzinski, then Laba with Brett Berard, who they just called up. The Blues putting Logan Mailloux back in the lineup. They're going to be going Thomas, Neighbors, Snuggerud, Buchnevich, Shen, Dvorsky, Kyrou, Holloway, Suter.
Yeah, I was thinking that Rangers lineup, that it looks like game 3 of the preseason when you're playing on the road somewhere and you're just sending like 3 or 4 vets or something like that. That's like, ew.
Yeah, they said Trocheck was a game time decision. They said they were holding him out for morning skate for precaution. I've never heard the word precaution used in that sense.
My assumption is that he plays. I cannot imagine they're going to have a regular season NHL game and have Juuso Parsinen as Artemi Panarin center.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's kind of a placeholder because if they were expecting him out, I would imagine Noah Laba would have moved up, but we'll see. It could be Trocheck, Panarin, Brodzinski. That's what we have in top stacks at 14.9, and they are chalky at 14.3%. And, listen, I don't really want to play 14% Johnny Brodzinski. The thing is, okay, so, every Sunday there's a guy on Twitter at JFreshHockey. He'll post a bunch of advanced stats. Goals saved above expected by teams. The second worst team in the NHL, I forget who it is. It was like minus 9.2 goals saved above expected. The Blues are negative 20.7 or something like that. It's like 110 to 115% worse than the second worst team. The Thomas Snuggerud Neighbors line in a small matchup, atrocious defensively. Listen, like, I don't really want to play Brodzinski, so I think you could turn it into a power play stack with Cooley or Zibanejad. It's just like, if Trocheck is out, like, that line just becomes unplayable with Juuso Parson in there. And then I would go to Zibanejad, Cooley, Lafreniere at 13-6, because I would imagine with Trocheck out, that line would become fully correlated. So it's just a matter of if Trocheck is in or not. Because if Trocheck's in, I prefer Trocheck Panarin with another power play guy. If Trocheck's out, I'll go play Zibanejad, Cooley, Lafreniere for 13-6. They would play heavy minutes. It's just kind of a wait and see. I think a Rangers power play stack, regardless, is fine. On the Blues side, I think there's no ownership on the Thomas line. They haven't been great. They're going to see a bunch of Fox Gavrikov. So adios amigo there. I think for me, it would be Suter, Holloway, Kyrou. Just because, Borgen is still out. Their third pair is Vakanainen and Robertson, which is not going to be very good. If Trocheck's out, these Rangers lines have guys all over the place where they shouldn't be. So even if Trocheck's in, I don't mind that line. That would be where I'm at on the Blues, Suter, Kyrou, Holloway. Like, they're fine. But if Trocheck's out, that Rangers top line would be $400 more and fully correlated in a really good matchup. So it's kind of twofold with the Rangers. If Trocheck's in, it's the Trocheck line. If he's out, it's the Zibanejad line. I think a power play stack's fine. And on the Blues side, it's the Suter line.
If Trocheck is in, then I would have interest in that line. As you mentioned, the Blues goaltending has certainly not been good. The Blues, as a team, have actually been pretty good defensively. So it's one of those things, like, the goaltending shouldn't be this bad, but if you actually watch some of the St. Louis Blues games, like, the turnovers and stuff by the defensemen are just completely leaving the goalies out to dry, like losing guys on rebounds and stuff like that. Like, they're not making life easy on their goalies. Let's put it that way. So if we do get Panarin, Trocheck, Brodzinski, like, it's not that I'm a huge Brodzinski fan, but Panarin and Trocheck are good enough together to carry just about anybody. And it's not like Brodzinski's a bad player. Like, I actually kind of like him as a depth option.
He's just not a good finisher.
Right. And, playing with Panarin could help in that regard. And the fact that they'd be under 15K would be pretty appealing to me. If Trocheck's not in, I don't think I'm playing anything from the Rangers. At least nothing amongst their forwards. Like, I was looking at Zibanejad's numbers this year when he doesn't have Panarin or Miller on his line. 42 shot attempts for, 71 against per 60 minutes. He's getting crushed. Maybe playing with Gavrikov and Fox will help as opposed to playing with the depth. But that's just, you got to wonder how much the other guys have been carrying Zibanejad this year, or, as opposed to the other way around. So if Trocheck is in, I'm perfectly fine with Panarin, Trocheck, Brodzinski. That would be my interest in this game. If he's out, I don't think I'm definitely not playing anything from the Rangers side. And I just got to hope that St. Louis Blues goaltending can save like 85% of the shots. I mean, that's basically 50-50 at this point. So that's kind of where I am on the Rangers. I honestly have more interest on the Blues side, and it's the line that you mentioned. It's that Suter, Holloway, Kyrou line. They haven't played a lot together, under 40 minutes, but 67 shot attempts, 3.6 expected goals per 60. They're not getting a ton of ice time, which is a little bit bothersome, but they're also priced like a filler. at 13,200. So you don't need 19, 20, 21 minutes a game from these guys. And I was looking at Evolving Hockey's play driving numbers so far this year. Number 1 and number 2 on the Blues are Pius Suter and Jordan Kyrou for expected goals for. They have been arguably their 2 best offensive players. Now it's been pretty tough sledding for most of them. So like best offensive player on the St. Louis Blues is kind of like, 27th place in a county, pie fair. So I take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, but I feel like that especially where they won't see a lot of the Gavrikov Fox pairing, Kyrou, Holloway, and Suter are kind of in a position to do some damage against the depth. Now, obviously, going up against Shesterkin, the Rangers penalty kill hasn't been awful. It's not like the St. Louis power play has really been that good. So you're banking on some 5-on-5 goals here, but considering how well like Suter and Kyrou have actually played this year, at least offensively, and we know how good Holloway was last year, low single-digit ownership, going to avoid the top pair from the Rangers. The Rangers might be missing, Trocheck and Miller. So like this seems like a decent spot too, that if you need a filler, Kyrou, Holloway, and Suter is definitely it. I don't mind Thomas Neighbors and Snuggerud. Thomas has been starting to get some more ice time, so that's something. Jake Neighbors just really hasn't been the same guy for like the last season and a half. And I feel like this is the kiss of death, but I'm definitely not playing Buchnevich, Shen, Dvorsky. Like, I know like Buchnevich has had some really good seasons in the past. Any Blues game I watch, like he's easily the worst player on the ice. And that's including Logan Mailloux, which it's honestly incredible. The guy looks, I don't know if he's hurt or what. He can't do anything on the ice. So like I said, kiss of death. This is now going to be a hat trick game for Buchnevich, but for me, like it's easily the Suter line that I have the most interest in this game. And we'll see if Trocheck is in. If he's in, I do have a bit of interest, but I think generally speaking, I'm not going to be relying on the Rangers. I have a little bit more interest in the St. Louis side.
Yeah, and like Zibanejad and Cooley together don't have awful numbers, but a lot of that is with Zibanejad on the wing. Like, there's a reason they moved him to the wing. He's not a top-line center in the NHL anymore. So, like, yeah, maybe he can still get by with the Blues, and going out with Fox is definitely going to help. But, like, I wouldn't rely on it. If it was, like, almost any other matchup and Trocheck isn't playing, I would be completely out. But the fact that it's the Blues, I still have to think about it.
I mean, and let's be real here. Like, the St. Louis goaltending is not going to keep up, like, 860 goaltending for the rest of the season, right? And in fairness to the Blues, like the last 4 games, 4 goals against, 3 goals against, 3 goals against, 1 goal against. Like, it hasn't been nearly as bad lately as it was, 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. It could stay that bad. It is pretty funny that, like, of all the talk about Team Canada, like, Binnington's still a lock to make the team.
I mean, the 3 goalies at the Four Nations were Binnington, Hill, and Montembeault. I mean, if you make the team today, like none of those 3 parts should probably be there.
I mean, if they take Logan Thompson, it'll be a miracle because of politics. But anyway, Philadelphia Flyers, 2.5 total heading into Tampa. The Lightning have a 3.1. Looks like Braden Point is out tonight. Kucherov is good to go after his 3-point performance in 5 minutes of ice time. They are going Kucherov, Hagel, Cirelli, Gensel, James, Gonsalves, Paul, Gord, Gergelschitz, and then Bjorkstrand, Finley, Douglas. The only reason I am saying that fourth line is because Finley and Bjorkstrand are on the top power play unit. And it is Sam Ersson in net for the Flyers. He has been awful, while our boy Danny V has been great. The Flyers are going Konechny, Cates, Forrester, Zegras, Tippett, Dvorak, Couturier, Michkov, Brink. Sucks that I was on the Flyers the other night and I was on the Zegras line, and the Cates Forrester line just
didn't they score like 3 goals in
26 seconds.
I was going to say like 3 or 4 minutes, maybe less.
It was 26 seconds. Good stuff. But Zegras did get the empty net goal, still in cash. But anyway, so no point. the top power play unit, I don't know what Hagel has to do to get on the top power play unit, but the top power play unit is Kucherov, Gensel, Bjorkstrand, Radish, and then they worked in Jack Finley on the net front. Him and Nick Paul rotated. Bjorkstrand's 3K. Jack Finley's min price. Kucherov, he's still 8,500, but like Radish is 4K. Gensel is 7,500. So like Gensel, Kucherov, two-man 16K, but the other three guys combined are like 9,500. So like full-blown power play stacking is just about as expensive as Tampa 1 was last year. Against a Flyers team starting the worst possible option in net. I'm not advocating to just load in a top power play stack because, Cirelli, Hagel, Kucherov have been excellent together this season. Listen, the Flyers are who they are. They're going to grind. They're going to try to grind the pace as best as they can. But it's not like the Tampa is some like high octane. We're going up and down. That's kind of like sneaky style of how they play as well. So like I kind of like Kucherov, Hagel, Cirelli here at 19K, 19.6% top two stack, 16.7% projected ownership. Now, I understand if you want to get some more power play guys in there, but 19K is the most expensive line of the night. It's not price prohibitive at all. Hagel's going to play his 20 minutes. Like, listen, we just talked on the other, I guess it was Saturday, about how bad the Tampa power play is anyway. So, like, I don't feel like you have to go in and stack power play guys. They did score a power play goal to shut us up immediately, but that's just how it goes sometimes. I think I'm more likely just to full-on stack Tampa 1. But if you do want to do something with the power play, you could go like Kucherov, Bjorkstrand, Finley for 14K. You know what I mean? And if you want to add in Radish, you're looking at an 18K stack for 4 guys on the top power play unit. The saving grace here is that the Flyers penalty kill has been pretty good. It's not Dan Vladar in that. It's Sam Ersson. So I think like initially I didn't really want to play Tampa because, this is a tough matchup. It's a slow, grindy pace. But like with Ersson in net, I think you have to consider Tampa here. On the Flyers side, I know Cates, Konechny, Forster went absolutely nuts, but like they're not creating much. They're just scoring a lot. And in samples like that, in a one-night DFS, like, yeah, sure, you can chase it. But I'd rather go to the line that's creating, and that's Dvorak, Tippett, Zegras. This Tampa team, is beat up. There's injuries everywhere. They're not going to be great defensively. So I have no problem going back to Dvorak, Tippett, Zegras here at 12,300, 3.1% top two, 2.5% projected ownership. I think that's my favorite line. Again, if you want to go chase with Konechny, Cates, Forster, they're only coming in at 4.5% for under 12K. So it's fine. But for me personally, I prefer to go to the line that's actually creating. Don't mind Couturier, Michkov, Brink, but for me, it's Tampa 1. If you want to do something in Tampa power play, fine. And then the Flyers, Dvorak line.
Yeah, I'll start on the Philly side. I mean, they do have 3 playable lines, and it's all pretty funny that all 3 lines are basically between like 1.5 and 3.5% tops. They're the Calgary Flames of the Eastern Conference. Zegras, Tippett, Dvorak, you're right. Like they have been creating well. 3.3 expected goals per 60. Zegras 31 shots in his last 10 games. So obviously they've been doing well offensively. They're going to avoid, I can't imagine they're going to see a ton of Cirelli and Hagel at 5-on-5. So they are my favorite line from the Philly side at 12,300. I will say Konechny, Cates, and Forster is interesting to me in this sense is that they're perfectly correlated on the power play. And they've generally been the better power play unit for the Flyers this season. So you do get Cates, Forster, Konechny, who are all playing 17 to 19 minutes, like fairly good minutes. at 11,700, which is filler status and perfectly correlated on power play. And I was looking earlier, they're kind of power play one now. Since Forrester came back, they've been getting roughly 55% of the power play time. So it's not a huge edge, but they are getting a bit more power play time than, the Mitchkoff unit, if you want to call it that. So I really don't mind them. I know they're not creating well, but 2.4 expected goals is like around league average. It's not awful. But it's the fact that they're perfectly correlated and so cheap with good minutes. And like you said, against a fairly beat up Tampa team, like once you get past that top line, there's a bunch of bottom six guys and AHLers. So I really don't mind connecting Cates and Forrester, but I agree with you. I like the Zegras line best. On the Tampa side, like I'm looking at these power play units. I mean, I think it seems pretty obvious Kucherov is going to play both halves, right? And Dominic James probably comes off the second power play for Kucherov. I'm wondering if Kucherov and Gensel don't play both halves. And then power play one is like Kucherov, Paul, Bjorkstrand, Gensel. And then power play two is Cirelli, Hagel, Gensel, Kucherov. You know what I mean? Like, I think at the very least, Kucherov is pulling an Ovechkin here and he's playing both halves. I think there's a decent chance that Gensel kind of does the same just because they're missing so many guys. So in effect, Tampa 1 is, I think, perfectly correlated on the power play. It's just Kucherov is going to be playing half the power play without those guys, but the other half with them. So Tampa 1, small sample, but 76 shot attempts, 4.9 expected goals. Like, holy hell. Those are just absolutely monster numbers. It is not a great matchup against Philly because they are good defensively at 5-on-5. We've seen that in Vladar's starts. They are good on the penalty kill. It's just that it's Sam Ersson. Like, as bad as a lot of goaltenders have been in the NHL this season, he's been as bad as any of them. And honestly, like, I'm just saying this out loud. I wonder how long it is until they just straight up put him on waivers, right? Because it's like they're in the thick of a playoff race. They can't have Sam Ersson, like, they can't have one of the best defensive teams in the league and have Ersson give up like 3.5 goals per game. They just can't do that. So I'm kind of wondering if it's like 4 goals against on 11 shots today, and it's like, don't even go in the dressing room, just head straight to the taxi stand outside the arena. It's kind of at that point for him anyways. So it's a great matchup in terms of the goaltending. Now, goaltending can be good in any single game, right? Like, it's not like Ersson's been terrible every single game out this season. He gave up 2 goals against the Penguins and 1 in the shootout, gave up 3 goals against the Islanders and 1 in the shootout. Like, that can happen, but that's just because of how good the team is defensively in front of him, not of how good he is. So I think Tampa 1 is easily my favorite line on the night. Just because, like I said, 1, I think they play heavy minutes. 2, they're going to be perfectly correlated on the power play. And it's Sam Ersson in net. So for me, it goes Tampa 1, then Zegras. I'm not really that interested in the Tampa depth. I don't even know why you would want to play the Tampa depth. Like, maybe you're doing like a Vegas power play stack that's super expensive, so you need like a Gergenson's Gord 2-man. Okay, go ahead. But for me, it's Tampa 1, Zegras, and then the connecting line.
Of the Tampa depth, I'd say one-offing Oliver Bjorkstrand's probably your best bet, if you do have to do it. Excuse me. Columbus, our Blue Jackets, 2.9 total. Heading into Washington, the Caps have a 3.5. Kirill Marchenko is a game-time decision if he doesn't play. Yegor Chinnikov is going to take his spot. That would be a huge opportunity for him. His under-the-hood stats are really good this season. He just doesn't get minutes. So I don't mind that there. If it's Chinnikov, Fantilli, Voronkov, that line becomes 13,300. It won't be fully correlated. But 13,300 is definitely playable. With Marchenko there's 17,700 second line, Monahan, Johnson, Wood, Coyle, Sillinger, Olivier. Washington going Ovechkin, Strome, Beauvillier. My brain just melted after saying Olivier, then Beauvillier. The second line is Wilson, Protas, Sordif, and then McMichael, Leonard, Duhaime. It is Logan Thompson in that he has been atrocious recently. I know that because I played him against Tampa the other night, and he gave up 31 goals on 7 shots. I still almost cashed with a negative 600. If Marchenko's out, though, I know people will be excited to play Voronkov, and I don't mind him as a one-off at min price. If we're being honest with ourselves, and that's something you should probably do from time to time, Kirill Marchenko is by far their best winger. So that would be a pretty solid downgrade on the top line. Listen, there was a couple seasons ago where, Marchenko, Chinnikov, and Voronkov played together, and they're excellent, but Chinnikov has been yo-yoed out of the lineup. When he does play, he plays 8, 9, 10 minutes. It's a big opportunity for him. It's just a tough matchup. And it's not fully correlated anymore. I would have more interest in the Columbus top line with Marchenko because they're fully correlated, and it's a good power play matchup. Not a very good 5-on-5 matchup, a good power play matchup. So if Marchenko's in, I'm good with Columbus one. If Marchenko's out, they're still fine because they're 13,300. They're just not fully correlated, and it's a tough 5-on-5 matchup against a very good goalie who's going through a rough stretch. I think the third line is fine as a filler. Coyle, Sillinger, Olivier. As long as their price is where it is at 10,600, I have no problem playing with them as a filler. If Marchenko's out, I think going to Monahan Johnson would make some sense because Kent Johnson probably moves to the top power play unit. So, I would have some interest there with Monahan and Johnson both being on the top power play unit. That line isn't very expensive at all. That two-man's 8,800. You can do way worse. Miles Wood has been fine. You can say whatever you want about the contracted player. That line has been pretty good offensively with him there. So Columbus one if Marchenko's in. Don't mind if he's out, but I prefer it with Marchenko, one, because he's their best player, and two, or best winger, and two, they're fully correlated in a good power play spot. On the Washington side, I think it's just a power play stack. Going Strome, Ovechkin, Wilson. Or you could play Carlson and Chychrun on the blue line with Ovechkin. There's plenty of ways to go about it. I think 5-man power play stacking will put you on a really unique build because how often do you double defensemen on a power play stack? So
they changed up their power play.
Did they?
Yeah, it's Ovechkin, Strome, Sourdif, and Leonard. With Chychrun, and then Carlson's power play too. Okay,
that's actually interesting because that's cheaper. It's cheaper, and Chychrun has been hair on fire. So you could go Strome, Ovechkin, Leonard with Chychrun. You could still just straight up. I don't really like going across 3 lines, so I think I would do Strome, Ovechkin, Sourdif, Strome, Ovechkin, Leonard, or Strome, Ovechkin, Chychrun. But yeah, that's where I'm at there. I don't really want to play Sourdif, Protas, Wilson as a line for 14%, but it's a good matchup. They're 12,100 though, and at that point, I'll just go play the Zegras line, or right around the same price for a fifth of the ownership. So Columbus is kind of similar to the Rangers in the sense that I need to see if Marchenko's in first, and then I decide what I want to do. And for Washington, it's a power play stack.
Yeah. I'll start on the Columbus side. I completely agree with you that if Marchenko's out, I don't really have a ton of interest in that top line. I'm a Chinnikov guy. I think you and I are both Chinnikov people. He's not Kirill Marchenko, not even close. He's not just their best winger. He's their best forward. And I think that's not even close either. Taking him out of the lineup, it's almost, I don't think it's quite to this level, but I think it's kind of like taking Panarin out of the Rangers lineup. If you catch my drift, there's just no one that can replace him. Yeah. Whereas if you lose Fantilli, it's go ahead, put Monahan, or if you lose Monahan, go ahead, put Fantilli, or if you lose Voronkov, it's well, Kent Johnson, you're up, or something like that. Losing Marchenko, they just have no one that can replace what he does, which is just about everything, at least offensively. So like if he's out, like I'm probably out on Columbus 1. I think I would have more interest in the Coyle, Sillinger, Olivier line just as a filler stack. 10,600. Again, they're getting good minutes. You could argue that they're, especially if Marchenko's out, they might be the top line here tonight, at least by ice time. And then, they're going to avoid the shutdown matchups from Washington. Now, without Dubois and without Dowd, Washington isn't quite the same defensive group up front. I think Dowd might be back tonight. We're going to have to see what it looks like at warmups. Carberry said that they had some game time decision players. Every time a coach says that, it's like the number 6 defenseman might be coming out for the number 7 defenseman or something. I shouldn't say every time, but like 90% of the time. Anyways. So it would be the Coyle, Sillinger, Olivier line just because they do get a lot of ice time. Like if you want to go to Monahan, Johnson, Wood, I get if Marchenko's out, I'd be fine going to the Monahan line just because, like you said, I think Johnson does jump up to the top power play. It would give them 2 out of the 3 guys on the power play, and Washington's penalty kill is where they're weakest on this team. You could say it's probably the one weakness of the Caps is that their penalty kill is generally bad, like not just kind of around average or something. It's like they're legit bad, and they take a lot of penalties as well. I was just looking like over the last 5 weeks, they're at 3.5 times shorthanded per game. It's the 4th most in the league and the most of any team on this slate. So, yeah, I would probably go to Columbus too, I guess. But I if Marchenko's out, Marchenko's in, probably up to Columbus 1. But I think I'm in more on the Cap side, like kind of ownership be damned here. Like Columbus is just not a good team defensively, whether at 5-on-5 or on the penalty kill. Ovechkin and Strome, dynamite this year. That top line, 3.5 expected goals per 60. Even Anthony Beauvillier has been chipping in a little bit. He's been shooting less recently. I think it's just a matter of Ovechkin and Chychrun taking all the shots because like those guys shoot a ton. I mean, that happens. But I think you can take out Beauvillier and put in Leonard. Like somebody in the chat was mentioning how Leonard likes to play at home. Just in general this season, Ryan Leonard is over 1 expected goals per 60 at 5-on-5. Like that is a pretty good, that is easily a first line rate. And he's done that down on the 3rd line. You can add him in for a top power play exposure. So I think I would go like Ovechkin, Strome, Leonard is what I would do with the Caps. I think they basically have 3 playable lines here tonight, just if you're looking at the even strength lines. But I don't want to play that Caps 2 line at 3x their top 2 stack, their ownership being like nearly 3x their top 2 stack. If I get down to the 3rd line at 9,400, it's like, why do I need something that cheap unless I'm basically stacking the Vegas power play or something like that? So for me, be Ovechkin, Strome, and Leonard. That is easily I like the best in this game. I would have interest in Columbus 1 if Marchenko's in. If he's out, it's probably the 2nd or 3rd line. I would go to the 3rd line, but I think they're both fine.
Florida Panthers with a 3.2 total heading into Nashville. The Preds have a 2.8. Looks like Aaron Ekblad back in the lineup. Florida going Marchand, Lundell, Samoskevich, Reinhart, Rodriguez, Bachwist, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Greer. Nashville going Forsberg, O'Reilly, Evangelista, Wood, Stamkos, Haula. Chalk Nashville at home against Florida. Like, it's not awful chalk based on their top 2 stack. It's not like they have a top 2 stack percentage of 4 and their ownership's coming in at 14.5%. They do have an 11.6% top 2 stack, 14.5% projected ownership. If Ekblad was out, I would have been a little bit happier about it because that Ekblad-Forsling pairing has been very, very good. They are fully correlated. Yossi is back, so that helps the power play. Florida has been taking a fair share of penalties of late. I think they're fine. I know that I'm not going to get there. Like maybe I'd have a Forsberg one-off or have Yossi on the blue line. But as a full stack, like I just don't think I'm going to get there. This line has been very, very good, though. It's not normal Nashville chalk where it's just like a garbage line at 20%. This line has been very good. I think it's more 20 max for me. That's really the only interest I have on the Nashville side. Like I have no interest in going to McCarron, Bunting, Marchessault, Like, I guess like a Wood Stamkos 2-man is fine, but like on the Florida side, probably going back to Marchand, Lundell, Samoskevich here. Coming in right at their top two stack at 9.7%. 15,700 is cheap. I mean, it's $500 more than Nashville won. But it's a better matchup for Florida.
This guy will come tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, like Josh was saying, it is a better matchup for Florida here. Nashville certainly had their problems defensively. You were saying?
I'm just saying, they are a little bit more expensive, but they're, they play a ton of minutes. It's a much better 5-on-5 matchup for them. I'm more likely to go play Florida here. Like, Lundell has been playing like 22 minutes. Marchand's been playing 18, 19. Samoskevich gets his 16. So, like, yeah, the Nashville guys may come close to that in minutes, but like these Florida guys are in the better matchup. So I much prefer Florida 1 to Nashville 1 here. I think a Reinhart one-off is completely fine. Verhaeghe one-off is completely fine. So it really, for me, it would be both top lines, but I'd lean Florida here.
It's one of those things, like, if I just kind of looked at some of the metrics and just didn't know anything about the teams, and I saw how well the Nashville top line had been playing, I would be slamming Nashville 1. Unfortunately, I've been watching the NHL over the last 13 months, so I know how bad Nashville has been. That Nashville top line, 73 shot attempts, 3.4 expected goals per 60 at 5-on-5. They've been creating a lot. They've just been shooting 6.7%. That's the frustrating part, is like, this isn't a line that needs to shoot 12% or something to score well. If they could shoot 9%, which is worse than league average, but just not terrible, they would be a great 5-on-5 line, but they just haven't. But the fact that they're creating so much is what's kind of driving me. And like, you get O'Reilly and Forsberg on the power play. Nashville's power play, guess what? Shooting 4%. Who could have seen that coming? So that is a problem. But, as you mentioned with Florida, they do take a ton of penalties. 3.5 times shorthanded per game. It's the 5th most in the league, 2nd most on the slate here tonight. At 15,200, if they can somehow donk one on the power play, get one at even strength, then you're kind of fine. And, Forsberg, he has what? The 5th highest projection of any player on the board here tonight. I don't know. Like, eventually, it's like this Nashville top line has to score. At some point, they have to score. And it's like, it's not like Florida's not been awful defensively, but it's not like they're nothing compared to what they were last year. And so far this season, they're 19th by expected goals against per 60, 19th by actual goals against per 60. Like, this isn't, they're not a bad defensive team, but this is not the team from last year, the year before. Injuries, okay, doesn't matter. I mean, it's just what we're dealing with. I mean, I like Nashville 1. There are other lines in that price range I would certainly rather play. We've already talked about Detroit. I would rather play them. If Marchand goes in, I'd rather play Columbus 1. But I don't think I'm just going to discount Nashville just because they have been creating so well. And I think Florida's not as tough of a matchup as it seems. I don't have any interest in the depth, like everything else. The top line's not scoring, but at least they're not playing terribly like the rest of the lines. On the Florida side, I agree with you. It's the top line. I mean, I don't know if anybody's looked at Reinhart's numbers when Bachfist is on the ice with him, but it's awful. That line is awful at 5-on-5. Maybe he can get there on the power play. Maybe they donk one at even strength. But I'll take the line that's playing well. And it is the Lundell, Marchand, Samoskevich line, at least in a small sample, 75 shot attempts per 60 in their 30 minutes together. As you said, Lundell playing way over 20 minutes, Marchand high teens. You're getting good ice time there. Nashville also not good defensively. They're basically in the Florida range. coming in with a lot less ownership. I will say the Nashville penalty kill has been pretty good. That's the one thing that's kind of holding me back from just slamming in Florida here. The Nashville penalty kill, expected goals against, basically middle of the league over the last 5 weeks. Shot attempts, top 3 in the league. Shots against, top 3 in the league. Like it's been a solid penalty kill, so it's kind of worrying me. I think I would go Nashville 1 and then the Lundell line, but if people want to play Florida instead, like I'm not going to argue with that. Nashville's really, really just struggling to score right now.
Yeah, and that has been a trend for seasons now, unfortunately. Bears bets. In Nashville, Florida, sorry, my feed getting behind, working in a shit basement with sketch Wi-Fi. Are you in my basement? Serious question. If you are, bark twice if you're in Milwaukee. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Ottawa Senators with a 2.5 total heading into LA. The Kings have a 2.9. LA going Kempe, Fiala, Byfield, Laferriere, Deneau, Fogle, Kopitar, Moore, Kuzmenko. Ottawa going Stützle, Batherson, Perron, Laferriere, Deneau, Fogle. What the hell am I doing? Stützle, Batherson, Perron, Pinto, Giroux, Amadio, Cousins, Zetterlund, Eller. Speaking of Ron Burgundy, I will read anything off a teleprompter, apparently. This game is kind of bad. There's a lot of ownership here on LA1. 17,900, 17.5% top 2, 16% projected ownership. Now, it's not a great matchup at 5-on-5. In fact, it's a pretty bad one. And this line has been together 50 minutes now. They haven't been great. They're good from a possession standpoint. They're not really creating, and they're definitely not scoring. Now, the one saving grace for them is they are fully correlated, and it is a very good power play matchup. Ottawa's penalty kill isn't good at all. The problem is at 17,900, you have the Devils $300 above them. You have the Columbus one if Marchenko's in for cheaper. You have some sort of Washington power play.
I don't think they're perfectly correlated.
No?
No. I'm pretty sure Byfield's power play too. It's Kopitar, Kuzmenko, and Corey Perry.
Oh, that's right. They did move Kuzmenko back. So that's just like another red flag check mark for them at their ownership. It's just like, do I want to play a non-fully correlated line against a good 5-on-5 team at 16% projected ownership? Probably not. You know what I mean? There's just so many other lines in that range in better matchups that I could play. So if you want to play them, be my guest. I will not. With Kuzmenko back on the power play, if you do want to go play Kopitar, Kuzmenko more for 10,800, that's fine, I guess, just because it's so much cheaper and the 5-on-5 matchup is just as bad for them. So I'd rather save the 7,000 or whatever. So I think Kopitar, Kuzmenko would be more likely where I would go instead of Kempe, Fiala, Byfield. On the Ottawa side, I don't really like Ottawa here. I think going back to Pinto, Giroux, Amadio makes some sense here for 11,400 just because of their price, and they've been good. This is just – listen, the Kings are good defensively at 5-on-5, just like the Sens. The way to beat them is on the power play, just like the Sens, but the Sens penalty kill is worse than the Kings. So, like, I guess you could do Stützle, Batherson, Giroux, but for me, I just go to the Pinto line. On the Kings side, it would be Kopitar, Kuzmenko, but honestly, like, I probably won't be touching this game in single entry.
Yeah, I was looking at Kopitar's numbers without Kempe next to him this season, and they're not very good. Whatever line he's on, 47 shot attempts, 2 expected goals per 60. They're just not – they're just not doing a whole lot. Laferriere, Deneau, and Fogle is probably going to be stuck going out against the Ottawa top line. I mean, just about every Ottawa line's been good defensively. That top line, no exception. I guess for me, it'd be Kempe, Fiala, Byfield, just because they all play like 20 to 22 minutes. Even if Byfield's not on the top power play, he has a pretty good chance of leading their forwards in ice time. Obviously Kempe's their best goal scorer. But like you mentioned, 17,900. Like you can just go play Columbus if Marchenko's in. You can just go play New Jersey for a little bit more. It's like for an extra $300 at pretty similar ownership levels, I would much rather play New Jersey than Los Angeles here tonight. Like, just in general, I don't have a lot of interest in this game. Both these teams are top 6 in the league by shot attempts against, shots against, expected goals against per 60. The Kings are 4th by goals against. Ottawa's obviously been a lot worse. They're kind of in that St. Louis zone where they've been pretty good defensively, but their goaltending's been horrific. As long as their goaltending is not horrific, like just even if they're just average, this feels like a 3-1 game to me. You just got to hope all 3 goals don't come from the same line. I guess it would be the Kempe line. On the Ottawa side, it would probably be the depth Pinto, Giroux, Amadio line, like just going with them as a filler. I'm going to save a bit of time here. I don't really have a lot of interest in this game. Like I said, this one, maybe it just ends up some wild shootout. Like wake up tomorrow morning and it's 8-6 or something like that. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, didn't these two teams play one of those games last year?
It's not the probable outcome though.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it was an 8-7 game in Ottawa last year at the start of the season. But anyways, yeah, I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting a fairly low-scoring game. I really don't have a lot of interest in either side.
Yep. Vegas Golden Knights with a 3 total. Heading into Utah, the Mammoth have a 2.9. Vegas going Eichel, Barbashev, Bowman, Marner, Hurdle, Dorofeev. Utah going Keller, Schmaltz, Hayton, Genther, Cooley, Carcone. Peterka down on the 3rd line. This is a tough game for both sides. Like, this is an actual good hockey game. I'm not sure how good this is for DFS.
I think Utah had new lines today.
I'm just a mess right now.
It was the Hayton line's the same. Yamamoto, Cooley, Genther, and then Peterka, McBain, Krause, Carcone down on the 4th line.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't really change much for me. Kyler Yamamoto still trying to find his mojo from 2019. I think I prefer the Vegas side. It's just like it's a tough 5-on-5 matchup for them as well. Like Vegas is a very good defensive team. They don't take a ton of penalties. Utah is a very good defensive team. Don't take a ton of penalties, but Dorofeev, Hurdle, Marner is probably the best line in this game. I don't want to discount how good Hayton, Schmaltz, and Keller are in a very large sample, but like Hurdle, Dorofeev, Marner have been excellent. We've seen this line like pushing 19K at times. They're 16,900. Again, it's not the best matchup. It's not an unbelievable power play matchup by any stretch of the imagination, but they're coming in at 4.5% with a 9% top 2. I don't mind them here. I don't think I'm going to get to them in single entry. It's more of an MME play for me, and it's kind of similar to Eichel, Bowman, Barbashev. Like, if anything, I do an Eichel, Bowman 2-man or something, but again, like it's almost any other matchup, I'd be more likely here. Probably not. So it would be the Hurdle line for me. On the Utah side, like it would be that top line, Hayton, Schmaltz, Keller. They're fully correlated. The issue is like 1, Vegas just doesn't take a ton of penalties, and 2, they have been a good 5-on-5 team as well. And at that price, like the ownership's great. Don't get me wrong, but like you have Washington in that range in a great matchup. You have Florida, you have Nashville, stuff like that. So like it's kind of hard to prioritize them when their top 2 stack is under 5%. The reason to play them would be ownership, but it's a tough matchup. So again, these late games are more MME for me. I'd be more likely to play something from this game than the Kings game, but again, like I'm probably not going to be touching it in single entry.
Yeah. The Utah penalty kill over the last 5 weeks, second fewest shot attempts against, fewest expected goals against per 60, fewest goals against per 60. This penalty kill has been generally pretty good all year. It's been great for like elite for over a month now. And they don't take any penalties. They're at 2.3 times shorthanded per game. It's the third lowest rate in the league over the last 5 weeks. They've been one of the least penalized teams in the league this season. So like it's a pretty bad power play matchup for Vegas. That being said, it's still Vegas 2 for me because they're going to avoid that Hayton matchup. And Hayton, Keller, and Schmaltz have just been a meat grinder defensively, under 2 expected goals against per 60. They play to a slow pace. It's kind of like playing the Flyers. It's like playing against the Cates line. So I don't have any interest in Vegas 1. It's Vegas 2 for me. Like that Vegas second line, I was looking just over their last 10 games. They're at 71 shot attempts, 3.8 expected goals per 60. Their shooting percentage is low in a smallish sample. It's nothing that I'm super worried about. Playing 17 to 20 minutes. Marner at the high end will get close to 20, between 19 and 20. Dorofeyev, 2.5. He's at 12 shots in his last 5 games. So even without a lot of ice time, he's still posting some good shot rates. Avoiding the Hayton line is the big appeal to me. It's still a bad power play matchup, but Vegas 2 at 16,900 isn't, I think, a solid 5-on-5 matchup. It's just like, Detroit won $800 more expensive. Columbus won $800 more expensive. Like you said, there's Washington and there's Florida. So like, they're not a priority for me, but at under 5% ownership, I do think and avoiding the Hayton line, I think Vegas 2 is in play in basically just about any format. On the Utah side, like, it's got to be the top line. But like you said, Vegas doesn't take a ton of penalties. Utah's not drawing a lot of power plays either. Like that's a big problem. 4th fewest power plays per game over the last 5 weeks. We've seen them take Dylan Guenther off because things haven't really been going that well for them. Like I guess it would be Utah 1 here for me because at 15,900 with perfect correlation and low single-digit ownership, you have to consider them no matter what on a 7-game slate. I would probably rather play Vegas 2, but for me, it goes Vegas 2, Utah 1. I don't really have any interest in any of the depth lines from either side.
Let's talk about defensemen here. We were talking about Werenski a little bit before the show. Guys, 5,500 and up here. Werenski, Yossi, Sanderson, Chychrun, Fox, Seider. With the lack of a super expensive line, I think Werenski is going to draw a fair bit of ownership here. I would imagine he's still in a tier of his own here tonight without Makar on the slate. Werenski is still the clear number 1 for me, but I think, Chychrun for me would be number 2, Yossi 3. If Trocheck's in, I like Adam Fox a lot more, but for me, it's Werenski 1, Chychrun 2, Yossi 3.
Yeah, Werenski and Chychrun both close to 20% ownership projected. Fox just a shade under 20%. So those guys are going to carry some ownership, but like Werenski, his point projection is like 2.7 points higher than the next closest defenseman. Like he's easily the top option on the board. So amongst the expensive guys, it's Werenski 1, Chychrun 2. I mean, listen, Chychrun just won't stop shooting, and he's got one of the best shot volume matchups on the board here tonight at home against Columbus. So I really, really do like Chychrun in the mid-price range. Like, if you don't want to pay up for Chychrun, like going down to Carlson, I think is fine. Seth Jones is in a solid road matchup against Nashville here tonight. Colton Parayko, not super huge on St. Louis defenseman, but anytime Parayko's as cheap as he is, tonight he's only 4,400. I have interest in Parayko. Darren Radish is projected as the highest owned defenseman on the board here tonight, which I think makes sense. He's only 4K. He's got a home matchup against Sam Urson. He's running the top power play. He's been getting minutes. So, if you want to just stick in Radish, I think that's fine. For the cheaper guys, like I think over his last 5 games, Ivan Provorov has been playing over 27 minutes a game. I'm not a huge fan of his just in general, but if a guy under 4K playing, 26 to 28 minutes a night, like, yeah, I really kind of do like him. Simon Nemec, even with Dougie Hamilton back, Nemec has been playing like 21 minutes a night. He's perfectly fine. Matt Roy from Washington projects well in that home matchup against Columbus. Axel Sandin-Pellikka for Detroit, still running the power play, and with Evansson out, maybe he gets a little bit more ice time. Philip Broberg, he's been getting some pretty wild minutes for St. Louis lately. I know he doesn't necessarily have that power play matchup, but Broberg's last 3 games, 26, 26, 28 minutes. It's a lot of ice time for a guy that's under 4K. If you're looking under 3K, Braden Schneider, I think makes sense. Rasmus Sandin, again, another Washington. Washington's as a team, their defensemen get more involved in the play, looking at zone entries and transition and things like that than almost any other team in the league. So I think playing almost any defenseman from their lineup, but for me, it'd be Sandin, Roy, or Chychrun. JJ Moser has been getting good minutes for Tampa Bay. And I'll mention Ian Cole from Utah. He can certainly get you a block shot bonus for under 3,000.
Let's talk about goalies, even though I legit don't want to play any of them. Like, legitimately don't want to play any of them. But we have to play one of them. Vasilevsky at the top of the board at 8,400. I have, for GPPs, like, I have shot volume concern written all over that. There's so many injuries. I just can't do it. Logan Thompson makes some sense if Marchenko's out, but, like, he hasn't been great recently. I guess that makes him a decent GPP play because he obviously has the upside. Like, Igor Shesterkin's fine, but 8K is not a great price there. I guess, like, Darcy Kemper would be the guy for me at 7,900. And then moving down, like, both goalies in the Kings game interest me. Darcy Kemper, Levi Merilainen. I'll keep quiet about the last time I said something about Levi Merilainen. Honestly, don't mind the Detroit starter. I prefer it to be Talbot. And then as a cheap guy, I think it would be UC Saros if he starts.
Yeah. If you look at the expensive goalie projections here tonight, Igor Shesterkin's at the top. Vasilevsky and Kemper aren't that far behind. I would probably prefer Igor. I think Kemper's firmly in play, though, for me, just because Ottawa, like, if they don't do much on the power play, they're probably not going to shell the Kings at 5-on-5. So Shesterkin or Kemper. I'll also mention Tarasov. Listen, he's been better than Bobrovsky this year. He wasn't bad in Columbus. He just played behind a very bad Columbus team, and it's not like Nashville can score. So he's expensive is the thing. 8,300 on the road. It's like you could save $300 and play Igor, but I kind of do like Tarasov here tonight. For the cheaper goalies, like, yeah, I think one of them has to be Saros. Feels like if Nashville wins that game, it's not going to be a 7-5 game. It's going to be because Saros keeps them in it. So certainly Saros. There aren't really a ton of cheap goalies that I really like here tonight. We'll see who starts in net for Detroit. If it's Talbot, I honestly wouldn't mind playing Talbot. If it's Gibson, I'd be less in on that. But Talbot at 7,300, if he's in net, I think would be my cheap goalie of the night.
Yeah. No interest in Urson. It was a joke.
I mean, is there actually you could play Vladar. Maybe he gets like 12 out of 12 saves after he comes in early in the second period.
Yeah. So Frostback, don't play Vladar and don't play Nico Dawes. I know you want to lock in that 0 at 6,500. Just don't do it. We will be back Wednesday. It's a straight up 15-game slate, so I hate that for us. But who you liking for your hat trick pick?
You know what? Why not maybe they'll actually do something tonight. Ryan O'Reilly.
I think you're just trying to get him to like will his way to Montreal.
I need him to have a big game so the Habs will trade for him.
I'm going spicy. It's like not an awful spicy pick because he shoots the lights out. Like he just doesn't stop shooting, but he is a blue liner. I'm going Jakub Chikrin.
I mean, he had one last year, didn't he?
Did he? He might have.
Pretty sure. Anyways, it'd be interesting.
We will see you guys on Wednesday. Just one game tomorrow. So good luck, everybody, tonight. And we'll see you in the Discord.
Good luck tonight, everyone.